So I remember seeing Mad Max Fury Road 10 years ago when I was living in New York City. I remember the movie very well. I remember the experience. I remember who I saw it with. I remember where I saw it. I remember walking out thinking, man, that's a really good action movie. It was somewhere between really, really good and great. I don't think it was incredible. I don't think it was Terminator 2 or Aliens. I think it's a really, really, really good action movie that I think honestly has aged incredibly well. It looked beautiful. Performances were awesome. The music was ridiculously good. The story was great. It was like one long chase sequence, and I really did love the movie, and it was really, really, really good. So now, 10 years later, today's date, we get a prequel, but of course, fleshing out the Furiosa character, showing us all of the steps that she takes to become the woman she is in Fury Road. And so now let's talk about this movie, Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Before we get started, click on the red subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you know whenever I post a new piece of content. Okay, so Furiosa. This movie is much like its predecessor, really good. I don't think this is as good as Fury Road. I'm open to changing my mind. So we have a young Furiosa, like teenage Furiosa, who's not played by Anya Taylor-Joy, and who's in like a huge chunk of this movie, almost like half the movie it seemed like, is this teenage, super young version of Furiosa. And then we get the Anya Taylor-Joy version of her as, you know, a young adult. And we see her taken from her family and attempting to like find her way home. And we find out why she lost her arm, how she got a replacement. Like, we get all of the details that make this very beloved character come to life. So what I liked about this movie is all of the presentation is great. Really, really just world-class special effects. The chase sequences are amazing. The music is awesome again. My neighbor's dog is barking. I have a problem with that, but I'm not going to stop the video. The movie is, like, presentation-wise is A+. All of that is great. The performances are great. Anya Taylor-Joy as a young Furiosa is dynamite. She's perfect. She really pulls this off well, gives her all into this role. Chris Hemsworth, man, as the villain, Dementis, he's also just great. He gets to chew up the scenery. He's over the top. He very much fits into this demented and slightly humorous wasteland that we've got going on that leads us up to Fury Road. This movie doesn't have like a bunch of unnecessary cameos and crazy fan service, which I really appreciate about it. There are a significant number of characters from Fury Road in this, and all of that makes sense for story reasons. Here's what I don't like. And again, overall, really, really did enjoy this movie. I will see it again. It's really good. It is a very good movie. It's also like 20, maybe 25 minutes too long. Okay, Fury Road was a 2-hour extended chase sequence that used every second of that runtime to perfection. Furiosa struggles with its pace. It's too long. It tends to have too much unnecessary dialogue. The last 15 minutes of this movie could have been completely reworked, and the ending isn't bad, but the way the ending is laid out for us, I think, leaves a lot to be desired. When a character could have used 10 words, they used 200. That doesn't mean the movie is preachy, but it definitely like didn't know when to stop. And if you see the last 15 minutes of this movie, if you see this movie, I think you'll understand what I'm talking about when you see it. So the movie overall is really good. There's it's just too long. It's just too long. It's really that simple. You can get away with long movies and long sequels. I'll give you a great example of that. A movie that feels very similar and how different it is to the first movie. This movie feels very different because it's got some flashback, some flash forward. They're mostly just like flashback and then today. I mean, it's a prequel, so the whole thing's flashback, but you know what I mean. But like, it's not one long chase sequence, right? There's stuff bouncing all over the place. We get a scene here, a scene here, a scene from these characters. So there's a lot of like jumping around. Fury Road didn't have that. It was just like this impeccably paced, perfect thing. A good comparison is The Raid and The Raid 2, right? The Raid is a movie that takes place in like mostly a single set, and pretty much exclusively a single setting where the characters have this one objective and it's like an hour and a half. And then The Raid 2 is a far superior movie, I think, but it's also an hour longer. It's 2.5 hours long. And it's like this massive, epic, Godfather-style gangster drama with just murder everywhere. And it's like a 10 out of 10. That movie is as different to its predecessor as Furiosa is to its predecessor. So it's just a very different movie, and it doesn't always work as well as I had hoped. So that's not to knock on the movie and say it's bad. It's certainly not a bad movie. I think I might enjoy it the next time I watch it because I know what to expect. So yeah, I would recommend this movie, but with some caveats. So that's what I think of Furiosa. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit me up, and I will see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m.